Welcome to episode 5 of Cbus Mob. I am super excited to have Amanda Lorenzetti on the podcast today. She turned her passion for flowers into a social enterprise to teach job skills and help folks who otherwise may not have found employment to really flourish in life and find the joy of flowers along the way. So tune in. I think you'll find it really inspiring and a wonderful place to buy flowers if you're in the market for them. Welcome back to Cbus Mob. I am so excited today to have Amanda Lorenzetti of Petals That Inspire. Amanda, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Allison. My name is Amanda Lorenzetti, and I am the founder of Petals That Inspire, which is a social enterprise right here in Columbus.
Okay. I love what you do. We've had you into our office to do a flower arranging class, but for our listeners that don't know, what is a social enterprise?
Yeah, so a social enterprise is a for-profit or nonprofit business that has a socially driven mission. So that means our business model is directly supporting the impact we do here in the local community. So for us, really the heart of what we do is our workforce development program. So I'm extremely passionate about young adults that have overcome barriers to employment or are going through some tough situations and are just looking for a safe, creative, and inclusive space to build confidence and learn a usable job skill to help them work towards happy and sustainable futures. So that's what we're all about.
Okay. I love this. This all sounds amazing, but how do you get into that? How do you one day you're like, I'm going to start a social enterprise?
The short answer is burnout. So in my previous career, I just got a little burnt out and lacked fulfillment in my job and my everyday and really felt like my work could have bigger purpose. So that's where I just found this event called Give Back Hack here in Columbus back in 2017. And that really inspired me to learn more about a social enterprise. And that's ultimately what sparked my entrepreneurial spirit.
Okay, amazing. Did you do anything in the floral space before you started this, or did you learn from scratch and then create the space?
Yeah, so I was introduced to flowers at a very young age. My godmother was a florist, and back when I was in second grade, our schools actually shut down early because of asbestos. So I had no option to go to work with my parents. They were both chemists. So I went to work with my godmother and really had a lot of fun learning the art of floral and really never thought that'd be my career. I ended up going to school for wedding and event planning, but my first job out of college was at a floral and event design firm that I had interned at. And that's what reintroduced this love of flowers to me and really sparked my love for creating memorable experiences through this art.
We learned all the flower names, so our guests don't know this, but when you came in, you were just naming all the flowers we were using, and then we have international folks, and you could tell over Zoom exactly the flower that they had in their hand, which was crazy.
Yeah, I think it's any artist, when you become passionate about your field, you just immerse yourself in it. And that's been really fun for me to just constantly be learning. And it's one of the things I love most about the floral art form is our medium is constantly changing. There are thousands of different types of florals out there. And my suppliers know I'm the one that comes in and asks for the weird stuff. What's new? What's funky? Because I love to teach it to the community. And it's fun to see how people really enjoy that.
Yeah, and you teach way more than this is this flower. We learned that white roses are more fragrant than red roses, and the little things that I think may make you unique to someone who can show you how to arrange flowers. Did you intentionally do that, or is it just your passion of ooh, I know this thing, I want to share it?
I think it's a combination of both. As it's funny because floral design classes were never part of our original business model, but it became something that I really enjoyed teaching the community. And it's really amazing to see people transform in a class from so nervous about messing it up and wanting to follow exactly where I am to encouraging this creativity and then seeing them really create. And I learned the value I can add to what we do at Petals beyond just our mission side is kind of helping people build confidence in doing this themselves. And it's really fun to see how some of our clients who have been to so many classes now just enjoy weekly coming to get flowers and arrange them themselves and feeling empowered to do so and share that with their family and friends too. So yes, I'm a true flower nerd and I want to share all the knowledge with people, but as an instructor, to see that transformation in someone is so rewarding. So that's kind of what fuels me to keep teaching.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, let's talk about the folks that you've employed and found opportunity to give them confidence in a life skill. So, kind of who do you bring into the space and what do they do to help the business really run and to give them job skills?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started Petals That Inspire 5 years ago now, which is wild, it started in partnership with Star House, which is a drop-in center for young adults experiencing homelessness in Columbus. And when I was introduced to their mission and their team, I felt very empowered to build something that could help support these youth on their journey to sustainability. So we started with those young adults. They have trauma background. They're really working on survival skills and just getting themselves at a spot where they can be independent. And a job is a big piece of that, especially from a
Yeah.
financial perspective. So helping these young adults by giving them a space that is safe, that is creative, that allows them to be themselves, but is not overwhelming, I think was really important to me. And once we started with those young adults and we saw how much they were benefiting from this art and this atmosphere, then I learned that there's a much greater need for other young adults. For example, those that are working through different abilities, as I like to say. So
Yeah.
autism or Down syndrome. Our environment works so well for those individuals because it's high sensory and it's repetitive and it is something that can be learned rather quickly. And those young adults are so intelligent and really enjoy learning too. So then we started working with that demographic. And then we also learned that there truly are no barriers to the work that we do here. So we started welcoming young adults with that are deaf and learning that we can communicate through a visual art and using marker boards and interpreters and things like that to also expand our program to them. So really the goal is, yes, to give these students this space to learn and grow, help them build confidence, and ultimately act as a bridge employer to help them get to their next step. So while I would love to train them all to be florists,
Yeah.
that's not the ultimate goal here. Really, we want to empower those conversations around something they're passionate about and something that they want to work towards as their career. And that's been really, really cool to see some of the students come through our program, find what they're passionate about, and then help making the connections and resources to get them onto that step. And we celebrate those exciting milestones where they get their first job or get into school or start providing for themselves independently through their own apartment,
Yeah.
all those things. We're the consistent piece that these young adults need as they're building their futures.
That's amazing. I think that's like a lot of maturity on your end, Amanda, to like be celebrating and supporting them moving on from you. I think so many employers are like, oh, you work for me and you'll work for me forever. But we know, like that's not the case. Knowing that your goal is to help them on to something more is really incredible.
Well, thank
How do you,
you.
but
It's important.
I would say, how do you do that? Is that like day one, hi, welcome to orientation. Here's what a flower is. And by the way, tell me what you're passionate about so you can move on. How does that evolve? Because that's a vulnerability. We're not trained to tell people like, yeah, this is super helpful, but really you're the stepping stone to X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. And some of the students that come into our program are a little bit fatigued by resources. So that means they're used to being put in curriculum or social work programs and things like that. So what was most important to me when I built this is creating a space where we build trust and comfort first, give grace along the way, and then really, really, it's about empowerment. So it is not a very structured format. We have formalized our curriculum where it is a 5-week program. So traditionally, before they start with us, they come in for a shadow day to just get a feel for the studio and the current students that are in the program, my team members, volunteers, others that they may engage with, get them hands-on with Floral to see the beauty of this art form. And then if they're interested in coming on, that's where they sign up for the 5-week program. And we always start with lunch because the best conversations for myself and many happen around a dinner table or a dining table. So that's kind of what fosters that really comfort and more family atmosphere. And it's over lunch where we always start with gratitude and goal setting. So we all share and write on the marker board what we're grateful for that week, as well as a goal that we're working towards so we can hold each other accountable and follow up on those the following week. It also sets a very positive vibe for the start of workshop.
Yeah.
And then we'll move into curriculum. So we focus on everything from financial literacy to different workplace scenarios, communication with managers, how to work through some tough situations. And our students really feed what that curriculum looks like. We have very open conversations about that. And we've partnered with Greenleaf Job Training Services here in Columbus to help us write that program. And we have a whole binder of resources that they get to fill out and take away from that curriculum time as well. And we work through something that we call our 3 seeds every week. So it's 3 different topics where we actually write through in our journals. And it's something that our students have shared with us that they really enjoy referencing in interviews and things like that. Like, what are your 3 strengths? What are your 3 barriers? What are your 3 worries? We go through all, like, there's 30 of them. So there's a lot that we go through. So they have that as a takeaway. And then we go into flowers. So somebody picks the music vibe for the workshop that week, which I have heard all types of music at this point. And then we have a job board. And at that point, myself and my team, we take a step back and we let the students delegate who's going to work on what. And it's really amazing to see natural leader qualities come through in those moments. And then everyone divides, conquers, we work, we clean up as a team, and then I take them to the bus.
That's amazing. Okay, so when you say, like, you know, you let them go and they divide and conquer, like, what are they doing? I'm just curious. Is this like cleaning the flowers, cutting them, arranging them, like?
Yeah, it is all over the map. So it varies week to week, which I find they really enjoy. Some students work in really structured environments, so they know, okay, if floral processing's on the job board, that's where I strive, so I'm going to do that. Every Thursday workshop, we build the bouquets that we sell in the studio to the public on Fridays. So there's the Floral Friday task. So we have a team that's building bouquets, laying out flowers, and hand designing them. Then we have a lot of prep non-floral activities too. So gridding vases, unpacking large shipments of ceramics and different supplies we're getting, cleaning jobs. There's really something for everybody. So we can make sure everybody feels comfortable and something that they can succeed at.
Okay, cool. So then you have your floral shop where you sell these and you do classes. What else does Petals That Inspire kind of undertake as part of its larger mission?
Yeah, so those are 2 of our 3 pillars. So we do the Floral Fridays at our studio, we do our floral design classes, and then we do event florals. I just finished weddings. May 2nd was my last wedding.
Yay!
Woohoo! That is like a milestone as a florist, I feel like, to reach that point.
Yeah.
But we do all other event florals. And then the last pillar that is starting to grow is subscriptions. So we do corporate subscriptions. So for offices, restaurants, car dealerships that are looking to have a regular flower arrangement in their space, we do that as well.
Oh, that's very cool. We're going to connect on the car dealer thing. That's one of my groups of clientele is car dealers. So.
Oh, cool.
We'll talk about that. That's super cool. So how did you start? Because, right, you started this in 2020, if I recall, and had to pivot really quickly. But kind of how did that impact what you're currently doing today, how your business looks?
Yeah, so it looks very different from when we started. Literally applied for my business license for an LLC on March 7th, got it March 11th, and the world looked very different between those 2 points. So we were supposed to launch in a subscription base where we were going to be doing regular workshops and supplying florals for coffee shops and cafes around Columbus. But obviously, our clientele went from 100 to 0 in a week.
Yeah.
So we pivoted, and that first year of business, I took any and every order that came my way. From driving 45 minutes for a single flower delivery to figuring out how to do virtual flower classes. We had to get really creative that first year, and I was still working in my full-time career.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So I was furloughed from my full-time career at the time for 3 months, which I took those 3 months to really build up this business and website branding, all those admin-like things.
Yeah.
So looking back on it, I was almost grateful to have that time to really hyper-focus on this, even though I had no idea what this business was going to look like. But we figured it out. And now it's grown tenfold, and year over year, it's grown so much. And really what is motivating me to grow this is the need in the community. And we have so many organizations that are reaching out, trying to figure out how to get young adults into our program, even parents individually reach out to. And it's something I'm really working towards to figure out how to grow this business model even more so we can support more students.
It's amazing. I'm guessing the flower purchasing is there. It's just the capacity to process stuff, which is what you're working on, is that right?
Yes, yeah. So it's really like a team expansion. We need more people to move this. And, as we're getting word out in the community about what we're doing, we're getting more demand of people that want to use us for their events or in that floral subscription model. We have all these students coming in, which is awesome, but we do pay them. So obviously I need to make sure that the business is operating positively so we can support paying more students in our program and bringing on more resources for them as well.
That's super cool. How many students do you think you've been able to run through your program in the last 5 years?
So we're approaching 200, which is pretty exciting.
It's incredible.
And what's really neat is a student never ages out of what we do. I think that's very important. That's something I'll really stick to. Is I have now 3 students that have been with me for over 4 years. And it's been on and off as they've gotten full-time jobs or as life circumstances have changed. But what's really neat is some of them, as they get their jobs, they make sure they have Thursdays off so they can come to the flower shop. And we find ways to utilize and work around their schedule to help come off site with us and work an event or help with some of our larger event deliveries. And it's been really neat to see that and very rewarding, to say the least.
It is super cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I asked, we're Cbus Mom, minority-owned businesses. So I always ask people, how has being a minority helped, hurt, fueled what you do? I mean, how has that impacted your growth as a company or why you started the company?
Yeah, I mean, we're small, we're women-owned, but we're mighty. And I think being a minority-owned business has introduced me to an amazing community here in Columbus. The resources and the other business owners in this space that have come together to lift each other up, to share resources, to really support each other through some really tough situations has really made me a very vulnerable business owner in terms of I'm willing to share my successes and my failures to help this group. We may not have access to all the amazing resources as other businesses, but if anything, that just lights my fire to hustle more because I know the work I'm doing is important and I know the right people will support that. And it's surreal to see how much people have come out to support the work we're doing, and to be here 5 years strong and growing is a testament to the minority-owned business community, the Columbus community, and really the need for more social enterprise and more support for this type of work.
The first is, what do the next 5 years hold?
That's number one question in my brain these days. And a lot of people ask that. The first 5 years is survival mode. You want to build something that is sustainable, that's making impact, that's growing, that's supporting yourself as a business owner. And we're getting there. And now that we've reached this point, my biggest question in my head is, how do we do more with what we have grown here at Petals? And for me, it's not franchising. I don't need to open florist studios all over the city. I think what is core focus in our business model is empowering and inspiring. And so how can I inspire other small businesses to incorporate workforce development into their business model? So really making the florist program something that other businesses can replicate very easily. So there's no barrier to adding workforce development is number one on my list right now. And I'm working really, really hard towards that. And then the other is actually in the floral industry. My industry is suffering big time with the economic climate right now. Mm-hmm. And just there's no new young blood coming into floral.
Interesting.
And I'm very lucky that I have built a very unique business model that can survive, knock on wood, in this world that we're in right now. And in talking with other people in our industry, that is very much needed. So I'm very passionate about sharing this model with the floral industry in hopes of helping to save it. So we don't lose small town floral and mission driven floral.
No, that's huge because like every small town, I grew up in one, my wife did, my sister lives in another small town. There's always like one florist. It's something that you do find in every small town. So I could see how that'd be valuable.
Very.
All right. What is one piece of advice or one resource or thing that has been incredibly helpful for your first 5 years of success?
I think the one piece of advice I always give when I'm talking to new business owners or in those early stages is don't invite anybody on board until you have the track built. I think this is something that really helps me stay very focused on what I was building without bringing in too much noise. I think in the beginning, you're almost overwhelmed by resource and programs and educational opportunities to help you build your business. But until you have confidence in what you're building and until you have clarity in the vision of what you're trying to create, you have to keep you at the heart of it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think it really can slow your growth and kind of impair where you want to build this. Because at the end of the day, this is my baby. This is something I have dreamt about and lost sleep about and all the things. And I 5 years ago wouldn't have clearly been able to articulate where I'm at now and what I envision for Petals if someone asked me then. And I felt like that brings on the resources maybe you don't need and things like that. So that's always my biggest piece of advice. And it's really helped me stay very focused as I've grown.
Yeah, no, I think that's great because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, I could do this and I could do this. And what about this? And if you just stay clear on what you're doing, you can accomplish that versus trying to do 50 things not well.
Exactly. That's very true. And I think I'll throw one other piece of advice in there because it's become kind of my life motto. Is to focus not on what we're achieving, but what we're becoming. And that was from a talk that I heard from Shannon Islam from the Community Shelter Board. And that has resonated with me so deeply because I was an achiever in my previous career in school and everything. How do I get to the top of the leaderboard? How do I achieve A's and everything? And to focus on the impact and the legacy rather than just these milestones and money models and all of that kind of stuff has kept the authenticity in what I'm building. And I think that's really, really important too.
No, that's amazing. Thank you. All right. If our listeners want to come to Petals or bring them in to do a class, like how do they learn more about you? How do they support your enterprise?
Yes, absolutely. So you can visit us on our website is probably our central hub of all the information, and that's petalsthatinspire.com. Also following us on social media is where we keep everybody up to date on what we're doing and new classes being added. And then you can come visit us. We are open to the public every Friday where you can purchase bouquets that are made by the students in our program. We're on 655 North Cassidy, so right at the edge of Bexley. There's major construction going on right now. So there are some detours.
Construction season.
Yes. So please still come visit us because their students are making beautiful bouquets. We will walk them to your car wherever you are if we need to. But or just reach out to me. My email is amanda@petalsthatinspire.com and we can brainstorm ways to creatively get involved with your business or if you want to host a class at your home. We are constantly getting creative with the work we do to enhance our impact.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda, for being on the pod. We really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, Allison, for having me. And thank you for bringing a light to minority-owned businesses. It's so appreciated.
Yeah, of course.